of the herd truth. And as always, baby, that herd truth is the hard truth that the weak don't want to accept, but the strong, you know what? They run right at it. They embrace it. And listen, I got a special guest for you guys today. Listen, we call it Jessica Brown, but she's known world over. I mean, honestly, I've been in the motorcycle community for 17 years, and I probably know 20 people that know me. But meanwhile, Jessica is Bikes and Balayage, right? I said that right? Did I get it? Did I get it? I was so nervous about it actually pronouncing it. Has actually become a force. A force. I mean, there's stickers of you in Daytona just randomly popped up. So I got to ask you, the first time you walked in and you saw that you were a sticker on a pole, like, did you feel like you'd made it? Did you feel like you had actually hit the top of the mountain?
I mean, I put the sticker there, so.
And listen, it doesn't matter. You can't be on top of the mountain unless you climb there. The man wasn't dropped down that side. So did you have a whole bunch of stickers with you when you went down? And now you're just tagging everywhere you go?
Yeah, so basically it's just kind of a cool way it's like a business card, if you will.
Yeah.
But here's my Instagram handle. It has my Instagram handle on and a picture of me, and then I just tag it wherever.
And I'm going to go ahead and ask you, like I asked on the front side, for all of us men that have like no hair, what does the balayage mean? What does that mean for all the folks that are looking at it?
So I'm a hairstylist by trade, and balayage is a specific technique in the hair world. It's kind of like what I have going on with my hair from dark to light. So I specialize in balayaging and hair lightening. So I just kind of made it fit. Initially, my page was going to be bikes and hair, but now it's just bikes. So that's how that happened.
Well, I mean, we talked about this before we started the episode. Is like you really do operate in seemingly polar opposite worlds, right? The salon world, and then honestly, the last thing that I would think about when we're talking about motorcycles is hair, because everybody's got helmet hair, right? So
right.
The first thing that we'll ask you, like for all the ladies out there that either ride themselves or they ride with their boo, what is the number one helmet hair tip that you have for them?
Okay, so ladies, you got to get yourself a hair crimper. See how I have this nice little wave happening? It's a hair crimper. You need it, like a deep wave. And then I use something called the hightail hair, and it hooks to the back of your helmet. And so you just twist your hair like this and then put the net over your hair, and it just keeps your hair like super perfect. And then when you take your helmet off, it's just like glorious.
Flows like angel hair. So listen, how did we, looking at your feed and kind of following you over a little while, am I right that you got into this kind of after like getting into motorcycle riding from your mom?
Yes. Yep. My mom and my stepdad ride. I've been wanting to ride since I was like 18, but then my stepdad got in an accident and I was like scared. So I was like, maybe not. And then fast forward to like 2017, I got in a relationship with a guy. He had a bike and it re-sparked that fire for me. Okay. So at the end of the relationship, he taught me how to ride. And then I got my license. We broke up. And that was the new journey after the breakup, was buying a motorcycle and then just taking off with the passion.
And, you talk about that fear. This is a thing that people that don't ride often struggle with to wrap their head around. Is like, all right, hold on. Like you're doing this. I think the outside world sees it as much more dangerous than it is. I think the reality is it's not really that much more dangerous than anything else. It's just very, very unforgiving for inattention. How did you get past the fear? And then for people that don't ride, what is it about riding that makes you say, you know what, it's worth the risk?
So pushing past the fear is getting a taste of it, knowing what it feels like to be on the back. And then there was also another fear of being on the back, is not being in control. And so that's kind of what made me want to switch to being a rider. And then I remember when I was first starting riding, every time I get on the bike, I would be like almost shaking in fear, like, oh my gosh, like this is scary. But I did it anyway, because I knew, just like riding a bicycle, the more you do it, the more reps you put in, and that you can relate this back to the gym and whatever else, is you get better and it just becomes second nature. And I don't think about it. I don't have to think about shifting. I don't have to think about all that stuff. And then relating it to why I want, what was that last question? It was like other people that don't ride.
For people that don't ride, I think for people that don't ride, they don't really understand why anyone rides. Like what is the the lure of it, what puts people on the bike, what gets people back on the road. And in your mind, why is it something you feel compelled to do?
For me as a woman, it's very empowering. I feel like to be a woman operating this 800 to 1,000 pound motorcycle is so empowering. Like to be able to control it, to be able to feel the wind in my hair. I love the sound and the vibration of the bike. Don't put me on a sport bike. It's not for me. I need the loud pipes.
Zing, zing.
And yeah. And and also like the journey, it's just so beautiful. Like you're seeing, you're smelling, you're feeling everything. It's just like a very you're in the experience. You can't be on your phone. Like you're very disconnected. It's just amazing. I love it.
I think it's the closest as you'll ever get to flying. Like,
Yeah.
and you're out there and you're going through it. And a road trip is completely different on a bike than it
Oh
is
yeah.
in a car. I mean, there's no comparison to those things.
Yeah.
So you talk about it being empowering as a woman to be on this bike and to be controlling. I know you got a little bit of a love for a road glide. I'm
Yep.
still waiting for that trade in to happen, right?
I know.
But beyond the bike, I mean, I've rode with the Three Patch Club for 14, 15 years. I know even when I first came into that scene, it's a little, it's a little like, oh shit, like everything's around. And so beyond the empowering aspect of actually being on the bike, how did you handle when you first started going in because I know you got a bike night coming up tomorrow night. You've been to some of the biggest spaces. I saw you were at Timonium, you were down at Daytona. I went to Daytona during COVID and I was like, I love Florida. They give zero fucks.
Yeah.
How did you find your footing, so to speak, there?
So I forgot to mention the community. The community is honestly one of the best parts. Bikers are some of the nicest people you'll ever meet, and they'll do anything for you. And because of social media, that's kind of where the whole Instagram things come in. We get to connect and learn from other riders and share that common interest. And it's so funny. Like whenever I went to Daytona for the first time, um, the girls that I was following already that were riding wanted to meet up. And so we meet up and we instantly have this connection because we have this thing in common. And it almost takes you from that awkward taking time to get to know somebody to almost an instant connection. It's crazy. And so I've met some of the most amazing people and connected with people on a different level with the community. It's really cool.
And what's kind of crazy about riding as a whole, and I've seen you do it. Kudos to you. My hat's off to you. Like, you're not just a fair weather rider. You got the whole ensemble, as Mariah Carey would say.
Yeah.
A lot of your instructional videos are how to actually kind of stay warm or keep it all together on the shitty weather. Do you think that you have to kind of, for lack of better terms, weather, no pun intended, weather the storm to actually be a biker? Is that how you look at it?
I don't want to say that because I really try to give grace to everybody. Like if you're a fair weather rider and you want to call yourself a biker, I love that for you because
Yeah.
just getting on a motorcycle is something that most people won't do. But to be a long distance rider and somebody that's willing to go through rain, hail, I don't know if I want to go through snow, but go through whatever it takes to get to where you're going and enjoy the ride. I think that says a lot about you. And it doesn't make you better, but it's just you have some bragging rights for sure.
Are you an iron butt? What's the longest you've rode?
I just did the ride down to Daytona. I went from Virginia to Daytona and back. So that was the longest ride I've done so far. And it was a great journey. I was so proud of myself. I probably won't do it again just because of time.
Yeah.
I ended up spending 4 days on the road and then only had 3 days to enjoy myself. And I love that rally. I would love to spend more time enjoying myself. But yeah, I'm so proud. It was fun. It was great. I don't
I
regret
had
it.
some buddies 5-6 years ago, maybe longer than that now, actually, for the nonprofit. They actually did, what is it? They did, was it, either did, I think they did 48, they did 42 or 48 states in 22 days.
Dang.
So they rode, and some of the stuff was just like, here, right up here by Farmers Ferry, where I'm in Maryland, I'm in Virginia, I'm in West Virginia within like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But who gives a shit, right?
Yeah.
Like 22 days of just running that route. I've had a couple buddies that I saw they rode all the way up to the farthest point from Virginia up to Alaska. And, you know, I enjoy riding, but my back just, I can't do it. I don't know how them folks sit down there. I don't got enough ass to last me to sunset as it is. So sitting on the bike is a absolute killing. When we look at what you've accomplished, and I mean, you've absolutely blown up on Instagram. And you talked about like how originally it was going to be the bikes and the hair. At what point in time did you decide, yo, hold up, maybe this should just be the bikes?
I think once I decided I was gonna go for like 10K, because initially the page was my Jessica Brown page. I would post about hair and makeup. Initially, I had sold some makeup, so I built up a community in my area of 6,000 or 4,000 people on there. And then once I started posting about the bikes, that was getting a lot of traction. As I was meeting new people, tagging companies, like they were sharing my stuff, and I kept getting more followers. So once I decided to hit 10,000 followers, I was like, okay, like I feel like my hair people are probably tired of seeing my bike shit and I need to separate the two. So, and then once I hit 10K on Instagram, it just kind of like Instagram pushes you like, okay, she's cool. You know, let's show her to more people. So,
So, how hard is it that? How hard is it for you to try to balance both? And do you ever like have an internal struggle with like, well, you know I like hair, but the reality is maybe I can take this insane. Maybe I can end up with 300,000, 400,000, a million followers. Like, where's your mindset with all of this?
um, I mean, my career obviously comes first. That's how I afford the motorcycles and the travel and all the fun things that I like to do. Plus, I love hair, and my clients would be really pissed at me if I quit. So I can't quit. But I wouldn't mind, you know, condensing less work time and then doing more motorcycle stuff. I'm open to receiving whatever it is. Like I have an abundance mindset, and I'm ready for whatever the universe wants to give me. And if it means I have to go travel and make money on motorcycles for more time, I'm down. Let's go, you know? So I just like to connect. I'm open to receive opportunities and just have a blast.
So you recently went out to Arizona, right?
Yes.
How was that event? Because Arizona, I go to Arizona quite a bit. Actually, one of the companies that I contract for and our marketing company is headquartered out of Arizona. American Infidels, we got a chapter out in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Um, fucking Dixon Flannel, probably my favorite clothing
Yeah.
company of all time, is in Arizona. So how was the show out there? Because I haven't had an opportunity to visit that one.
It was really cool. It's kind of set up similar to Gettysburg, how they have the main event, Arizona Bike Week, which is a ticketed event, and they have the big names. They had Godsmack this year for um, concerts and stuff. The downside to that is like you have to pay a pretty pricey price to get in and to see the vendors and stuff. So that's the only downside. But then outside of that, they have Scottsdale Harley that has events. And then there was like a bunch of events all over the place. Cave Creek was a fucking cool ass town. Lots of really cool bars and events, bike shows everywhere. So I would definitely go back. It was super fun.
So of all the shows you've been to, what's your favorite? What's the one that you're like, man, you got to get if you're going to go see one rally, you got to do this one.
Well, if you're a rider and you like to ride, Sturgis is the best because the riding is unmatched and the scenery is so amazing. Plus, they have really great party if you like to party. If you aren't really a super big rider and you really just want to party and be in the sunshine, go to Daytona. It's the best. But there's not much riding.
Now, how do you balance it all? How do you balance? All right, I got a from what I've seen since I've been following, you've got a pretty jam packed travel schedule. You've
Mm-hmm.
got your business with the salon and your clients. Like, how do you make sure that you're getting everything the attention that it needs?
Um, I feel like in the last few years, I've condensed my work schedule a little bit because living my life and having fun and enjoying the things I really enjoy is really important to me. Obviously, I have to still make work a priority to be able to fund that, and I don't want to lose any clients or anything like that. But when I'm in the salon, I'm in the salon and I'm committed and I take care of my clients. I give them a good experience and everything. But I just plan ahead. Like I have to plan as far in advance as I can to take off the time to readjust my schedule to accommodate guests when I'm not traveling. And I really, within myself, I do a lot of personal development. Every morning I wake up, when I'm getting ready for my day, I do podcasts, I listen to books, I try to grow my mindset. And that's honestly something I would say if we go back to, I don't even know, 10 years, 11 years ago, that's when my life changed. I learned about The Secret, the law of attraction,
Yeah.
and that changed
369.
my life. That changed my life because I felt like before that I was going to live in everybody else's box that the our I don't just the United States has for us. You go to school, you get married, you go to college, blah, blah, blah. You work your life away, you have kids, whatever. But then once I learned about The Secret, I was like, what? I can live life up here, do whatever I want. This is awesome. So I really give a lot of credit to like mindset shifts and personal development, to be honest with you.
How do you implement that into your life for people that have, this might be the first time they've heard about The Secret?
Just spend 5 to 10 minutes a day. It could be listening to audiobooks. It could be listening to podcasts. It could be watching motivational speeches on YouTube. It could be finding motivational people to follow on Instagram or Facebook. But it's any time spent growing yourself emotionally, intellectually, whatever.
Have you ever, oh man, I don't know if I have it here. If you like that book, you ever read Think and Grow Rich?
Yes.
Have you ever read this?
Maybe not that one.
So this is written by Napoleon Hill, same guy from Think and Grow Rich. But what this is action items to actually
Okay.
do it. So if you're into The Secret, you're into that type of thing, that'd be a great book for you to pick up. So with that said, what are you putting in the universe? What do you want to have happen?
I just want to live my best life and help people and be happy and healthy and healthy. Healthy is important. I'm learning so much about our environment and how much the government doesn't give a fuck and how we have to be in charge of our own mental, physical, emotional well-being because they don't care.
So, and how are you implementing that into your life? What are you doing? Because I mean, travel, kudos to you because travel is hard. Like,
Mhm.
and a matter of fact, when we talk to a lot of people use that as an excuse to not be able to be healthy, to not be able to get their workout in, to not be able to eat. You are at, I've been to plenty of rallies and there are lots of vices laying around, so to speak. So
Mhm.
how do you make sure that you stay on track while you're on the road?
I'm not saying I do stay on track on the road. It's honestly really hard to eat healthy at a rally because it's hard to find food. There's a lot of, fried food and stuff like that. But all you can do is just try to make the best choices you can. That's all you can do. And when I'm home, it's a chance for me to kind of get back into that routine, make sure I'm getting my water in, my vitamins, eating clean. I try to not do a lot of chemicals and fried stuff. So, yeah.
So if somebody's like, man, I'm getting into the bike, or maybe they've been riding for a little while, what is like your checklist? I'm heading to a rally. What is it that I have to make sure so I get the full experience? What things are you looking to check off to make sure you do while you're there?
Um, First, I would kind of get a list of the events that are happening and make a list of the things that are non-negotiable that I want to make sure I hit. Like I want to make sure I go to this show or I want to make sure I go to whatever. And then also figure out what rides I want to do. Like if there's any scenic rides that I want to do and start planning around those things that you don't want to miss out on. And then after that, I don't like to make too many plans. I like to kind of go with the flow, meet up with people, see what everyone else is doing. I don't want to schedule my whole trip. So,
Man, let's take the lessons you've learned from getting on the bike and putting yourself in this environment because the reality is even though, and I do believe I remember reading somewhere that the fastest growing segment in the motorcycle community is women. Like women
mhm.
riders are really starting to, take hold. But even that being said, it's still, I would argue, a male dominated
Yeah.
space, right? So whether it's writing, whether it's I don't know, shit, construction work and starting your own business, like what advice do you have for women? Because here's, let me preface this by saying you're very feminine,
Hmm.
but you don't strike me as, at least from what I've watched, you don't strike me as the person that puts their entire persona around proving that I can do whatever I want to do as a woman. Like, to me, you show up as a fucking human, right? And I should be in here just because I'm a person. I don't need to justify I'm here as a woman, but I can still understand. Like, there's trepidation. You're going into a place. I know, fuck. Sometimes if I show up places and everybody's in suits and I look the way I look, I'm like, oh fuck. Like, do they think the janitor's here? Right? So, what tips do you have for people that maybe they want to go into some type of community that they feel like an outsider in? What tips would you give them for being able to gain confidence?
Um, I would just say hold on to someone that you look up to that's done it just like what you want to do. Maybe it's somebody that has lost a bunch of weight, because I want to relate it back to your world with exercise and stuff. Like if you've seen somebody that went from here to here and that's what you want to do, if they can do it, know that you can do it. And that's what I did. I was like, if my mom can ride, because she can be a little wild, I'm like, if she can do it, I can do it. So, like, hold on to that and just have belief in yourself that you can, and just know that it might be scary. It might be hard. You might fail. But if you keep going, it will be worth it. You have to push through.
Speaking of that, being second generation, how does your mom feel about all of this? Because I mean, she's like, all right, well, we got you on a bike. Now you're like a mini celebrity. Like, how does she feel about watching her baby girl go out and really rise up in a community that she probably spent a lot of time in as well?
I think it's bittersweet because I think she's so proud of me and all I've accomplished. But then she's also like, mom, and she wants to see me be safe and doesn't want me to do anything to get myself in trouble or hurt. And so she still calls me. For instance, when I was riding down to Daytona, my plan was to ride the whole way. But when I woke up that morning, it was 26 degrees here in Pennsylvania. And my mom was like, Jessica, I'm going to need you to put your bike on a trailer and meet your friends in Virginia until it warms up to above freezing. Like, I'm your mother and I need you to be smart about this. Do you want to even make it there? And I'm like, oh, fine, mom. Like, I'll
It's
do it.
fucking miserable. Like,
So I
yeah,
did. I respect her, and she was right. Like, you shouldn't be on two wheels under freezing temps. So, yeah.
it's miserable. I rode with a buddy one time up to, and I hate being fucking cold. I can't stand it. Right. I'll do it for like a just cause. And we rode up to, actually first full face piece helmet I ever bought in my life was because we rode from here to Delaware to pick up his bike. And as soon as I walked in, I'm going to shit what a full face piece costs. Give it to me right now. Cause
Yeah.
I absolutely can't stand it. But you have like all the gear. I think that's one of the things that maybe the salon aspect of you brought over is that you've got all the gear, all the right heating gear, all the right helmets. What is your favorite piece of gear that you have that if you're like, hey, listen, I got to recommend something to somebody, what is that?
Um, I mean, if you're a rider like me, heated gear is a game changer, to be honest with you. I'd say that, and like the Cardo communication unit that I have on my helmet. I think it's not only great for listening to music, but also safety wise, if you're riding in a group, being able to communicate like, hey, we're going to make a right up here, or watch out for this freaking bozo on the left, or hey, there's something in the road up here, sharp curve coming up, like safety. And then being comfortable on the bike. Comfort is super important, because if I've been in situations where I'm shaking because I'm so cold and
Yeah.
I'm miserable. And what's the point? Like, I don't want to be miserable on a bike. And I don't think it's safe because you don't have as much control when you're not comfortable. So I think heated gear and comfortable stuff to, keep you safe, and the Cardo unit, I would say.
So how does that car, because I've actually never used it, how does that cargo unit work? Is that like a CB setup where everybody's on the thing, or do you have to phone call them? Like, how does it work?
It's, first of all, Bluetooth to your phone, and then it's a DMC mesh connection where you can connect to up to 15 riders. But like it connects to my phone, so I can say, "Hey Siri, call so and so," or "Hey Siri, text so and so," hands free. I don't have to touch anything, and I can make phone calls. I can accept phone calls. I can text people. I can ask her to navigate me here or whatever. So it's
That's
pretty
awesome.
nice. Mm-hmm.
So, what do we got coming up? I know you got the bike night coming up tomorrow night. Where's that going to be at?
Tomorrow night is bike night at Taverna 5450 in Fairfield, Pennsylvania from 6 to 9. And
Okay.
basically, it's just a way to gather the community. I love getting people together. And we'll have giveaways and different vendors there. And then I'll be in Babes Ride Out. It's a motorcycle, all female moto camp out in New York in June. And then Laconia Bike Week.
Awesome. Awesome. If people want to follow you, they want to learn more about you, how do they find you?
They can find me on Instagram and YouTube at Bikes and Balayage. And I'm
And
sure you'll have it in the caption how to spell
I'll
that.
absolutely tag it for people in there. But for those people that might catch us on Spotify, how the hell do you spell that?
Balayage.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, hey, listen, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to jump on the show with us. As always, guys, remember the first step to the storm should be your own. And listen, sometimes that can be on a motorcycle too. Make sure you keep living your life head down, horns up. Until next time, salute. Great job, young.